Am I the asshole for telling my ex I didn't forget our son stuff? My ex and I had a contentious divorce that she largely lost when you consider what she was trying to get and what she actually got. For example, she wanted primary custody of our 8-yo but got 50-50. We settled everything last month. We switch every week. Last week, I picked him up and she handed me a backpack filled with clothes and toiletries. I asked why she was giving me this and she remarked it was his visitation bag. My son doesn't need clothes or a toothbrush from his mom's. He has just as many stuff at my house. I was insulted she called it a visitation bag like I'm some weekend dad couch surfing. That was a slap in the face. I purposely left it behind when we left. She texted me to tell me that I forgot it on the couch. I said I left it there on purpose because my son isn't visiting me, so no need for a visitation bag. She told me I was being an asshole and she was trying to help. I copied and pasted that comment back to her except that I said she wasn't helpful. Edit. My ex packed the bag, not my son. He has his own backpack and he took stuff from his mom's in that backpack. The visitation backpack was something that you'd sent a kid with to a sleepaway camp, like a toothbrush, socks, underwear, etc. Like he doesn't have that at my house. Info. Did you talk to your son and see if he actually wanted the contents of that visitation bag? Maybe there were some clothes he felt more comfortable with or a toothbrush he really likes. You are the asshole. I assume your son has most things 2 or more times, but it's RREEAALLLLLYY normal to have a bag with stuff you bring between the parents. Like a DS, Switch, books, other stuff to play, favorite clothes. Your pride makes up problems here. You are the asshole dude. Just take it and don't use it if you don't need it. She's trying to be helpful and you're spitting in her face about it. It would be different if you'd handled it maturely and she persisted, but you went at it from a confrontational angle. Also, please learn to not bristle at little things your child's other parent does. Your child will suffer the most for it if this behavior continues. Y'all both need to grow up. You're in a contentious relationship with your ex-wife and are now navigating co-parenting given the new arrangements. Your son will suffer if he picks up on the resentment you have and associate that resentment with his care. In a less frustrated moment, take the time to explain why the term visit frustrated you and suggest alternatives. Indicate you take pride in the provisions you've established for him at your place, but for continuity and stability as this routine is established, work together to ensure that he has some favorite items that he can transport to and fro for daily use. For now, everyone sucks here for the smallest details being a push-pull inflammatory event. I know divorce is bitter and unpleasant. I am child of a divorced couple who, 30 years later, cannot stand each other. I am also a divorcee. I know how you feel. I can also imagine how your kid feels. It is confusing and scary and they won't understand it. Might even feel it's their fault as parents only argue over them. The two of you have got to put this aside for the sake of your child. You are both being assholes. Your kid is watching you both. How you treat each other will form the basis of how they grow and interact with potential partners in the long term. Don't treat stuff like a competition. There are no winners or losers. Your child's well-being needs to be your priority. Everyone sucks here. Y'all need to start acting like adults for the sake of your child. It's concerning to me that your whole post is how much you hate your ex and boasting about how you won the divorce, and nothing at all about your son and how he feels about the visit bag. You are the asshole. Edit. Her to he. You are the asshole. Did you even look in the bag? It's totally normal for kids to take things with them between parents' homes. You may have left behind his schoolwork, or a book he's reading, or a game he's playing. Just because you have 50-50 doesn't mean your kid won't be taking things with him from house to house. Not the asshole sounds like your ex is playing mind games, which is really unfair on the child. Am I the asshole for snapping at my family for excusing my sister again? I am 27F and she is 22. We have never gotten along great. I don't know if it's the age difference or if it's our personality differences. She has always responds to me very angrily when I try talking to her about anything, almost like my mere existence bothers her. I've tried talking to her about it. She tells me I am too sensitive, emotional, or just plain dramatic. I've tried mentioning this to my parents and they always just respond with, "That's just the way she is. Deal with it. She's your sister and no matter what, she loves you. I recently broke up with my boyfriend and had to move back home. Moving back home has been very difficult on me because my mother has always been very controlling and doesn't believe in the concept of privacy. Since moving back, I've noticed that I have been feeling really low and might be suffering from some slight depression due to all the changes in my life, breakup, move and issues at work. The Sunday before last, we were having breakfast as a family like we usually do. All morning, my sister and mother kept making jokes about my recent ex and another ex that I'm still friends with. I tried to be a good sport and laughed along even though I was upset about the comments they were making, but I figured, that's just the way they joke. All was well until we finished eating and we started talking about Mother's Day coming up and what my mother wanted as a gift. She mentioned that she wanted new ceiling fans but didn't want us to spend too much. I decided to look into prices for ceiling fans since my parents have the tendency to think things are more expensive than they really are. So I started looking at just the prices of ceiling fans to prove that ceiling fans didn't start off at $300 like they kept insisting. My mom had mentioned that she wanted a fan similar to what we already have, so I showed her the price of one for $170. My sister saw the fan and told me it was ugly with attitude. I responded stating that I was only looking at prices to show that they were not that expensive. She immediately told me that she didn't need my attitude. My dad immediately told me to be nice. I was hurt and confused. I asked them, how come no one asked her to be nice to me when they had been making fun of me all morning? They immediately started saying that I was being dramatic and that they were just joking around. After that, I was obviously fed up with my family and tried to distance myself. A few days later I received a message from my mom saying that she was hurt and that my behavior was affecting the family. She said my sister told her that she was hurting too, that she loved me but didn't know how to show it. My mom keeps insisting that I blew things out of proportion and to just get over it. Am I the asshole for snapping at my family? NTA, but you should definitely looking into finding a new place to live. Your family is showing toxic favoritism towards your sister, letting her get away with things that are not okay. They are being hypocritical by telling you not to do something while letting your sister do the same thing. Has their treatment been fair growing up? Not the asshole. RJUSTNOFAMILY. Like move out ASAP. I don't care how you do it. You'll be happier. Hey, I feel for you. Your parents clearly have a fav child. Tell them that your sister is being dramatic about being hurt, and if she can't show that she loves you, she better not sure that she doesn't. Either she can say something nice so she can keep quiet. Keep the distance. Stay out of conversations with her and talk only when you're spoken to. You deserve to be happy and not be ridiculed at every minute. Get out of that house. All the best. Not the asshole. Oh, you are not the asshole if you can get out of there as soon as possible. They are gaslighting you badly. Consider going low or no contact with your sister as well. I'm sorry your family is treating you like this. My nieces have a 4-year age gap between the three of them, the 8th of April 12, and whilst they aren't best friends, they all get along, can play together. 5 isn't years a supermassive age gap that you can blame shitty personality and being a bitch to your sister on. Edited to fix spelling mistakes. Info. Wouldn't it be a good idea to move out? OMG, at 22, you would think your sister was old enough to stop sucking your mom's tit and start acting like an adult and not a petulant child. And your mom needs to stop encouraging that behavior. And at 27, you need to move into your own place as soon as you can. Not the asshole. Coming from a toxic family with sisters, my takeaway has always been it's just not fair and you can't change how people feel about you, just how you react. Not the asshole, they are gaslighting you like crazy. I sincerely believe your sister did not mention that she was hurt and loves you. I'm guessing that's your mother protecting her princess while you get the shaft. Run when you can. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Sounds like you're more emotionally mature than your family actually. I would cut off your sister completely. And then, save up and try to move out ASAP. Your life will be more peaceful. It sounds like a toxic spiral in your household and of course like mother like daughter, your sister. By the way, I'm sorry about your breakup, the move, and work life. I hope it gets better for you op. Sending good vibes. Am I the asshole for going behind my dad's back telling my grandparents we're staying in his car? My dad is really mad at me about this and he doesn't want to talk to me, so I want to know how badly I, 16M, messed up. He broke up with his girlfriend and we left her apartment a month ago. My dad only has part-time job ATM and so couldn't even get us a motel to stay cause it's money wasted. Only his friend let us use his place in the mornings to shower. My dad didn't want me telling my grandparents about this because sometimes I know they talk about him not being a good dad. Is not true, but it makes my dad get mad at them and he doesn't like asking them for help because he gets a lecture from them about how he fucked up. But week went by and we were still in the car. My dad said he's gonna get a full-time work soon. I ended up texting my grandpa about it. Then that day after school my grandma was there to pick me up. Instead she said they talked to my dad and I'm not going with him. I'm staying at their place now, been here for 2 weeks. So guess they had a whole fight and made him agree to let me stay with them until he found a place. My first night my dad texted me a long message. Just that he couldn't believe I'd go behind his back because he knew my grandparents would get mad at him and give him shit about our situation. He thought as his son I'd have his back in this hard time and stick it out with him. My dad's not answering me anymore. My grandpa says to give him time to cool off, but has been weeks of him not replying to me. On my messages it says he read them though, so he purposely ignoring. Things aren't easy sometimes, but never to that level of us not having a place to go, and IDK maybe I didn't do this right. Am I the asshole that I betrayed him by telling on him to my grandparents after he said don't? Not the asshole. Your dad making you sleep in his car just so he can maintain his pride is horrendous. You did the right thing. Not the asshole. You deserve proper housing, and you were right to reach out to trusted adults when your basic needs are not being appropriately met. Your dad should have swallowed his pride and asked his parents if you could live with them to begin with. Not the asshole. Your dad is the asshole for putting his pride above his child's health and safety. Normal parents would have immediately told your grandparents what happened and asked you could stay with them a while. Not the asshole. You were homeless. That can have a huge impact on your physical, mental and emotional health, not to mention your grades and relationships with those around you, at school. Your dad needs to swallow his pride and admit he needs support. Putting his pride before the health and well-being of his own child is appalling. Not the asshole. The fact is that your dad shouldn't be choosing for you to sleep in a car when there's a viable alternative, your grandparents. I'm pretty flabbergasted that he's shaming you for not sticking it out. What the heck? He would rather have his son sleep in a car instead of somewhere safe and warm with an actual roof over his head? You didn't choose his GF or the breakup, so why should you be forced to suffer the consequences of his decisions? This is just messed up. But yeah, definitely not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your dad is so proud he will let his teenage kid sleep in a car instead of asking for help? JFC. Not the asshole. Any real parent would put their child's well-being above their pride. Thank your grandparents for opening their home to you and realize that your dad is acting like a brat by ignoring you after he messed up. Not the asshole. It sucks to have to call your dad the asshole here because it's a difficult time right now for a lot of people, but it's definitely not a no assholes situation. He had a place for you to stay with his parents, but because it came at the cost of him having a blow to his ego, he made you sleep in a car. You did the right thing by asking for help when help is needed. Your grandparents did the right thing by making space for you and being there for you right now while your dad is pouting. Him acting like you betrayed him rather than him betraying you by not getting you into your grandparents' house is really low of him. Don't let him convince you that you did anything wrong. Not the asshole. Your dad is a selfish asshole for letting you live in his car, because of his foolish pride. If anything, you should be angry at him, and ignoring his texts. Not the asshole. Your dad, he doesn't deserve the title. Put his petty little ego above your own well-being. If he was remotely fit to be a parent, he would have cared about you enough to tell your grandparents or even call CPS on himself and make sure you would never be homeless just because he was. As for the harassment, block him. Don't let him contact you. You should report your dad trying to keep you in a car and the harassment that followed to CPS so they have a record of this. You might need that record later to help keep you with your grandparents or at least away from this terrible person. He betrayed you. Do not let this abusive, neglectful, unfit parent gaslight you into thinking his ego should have mattered more to you than yourself.